They're bringing the bodies out to be buried in the mass grave that is behind me.
For those of you watching, I just saw one of Brad's posts this morning about the burial, the mass grave that they dig, and they bury the Christians that have been slaughtered by the Muslims there. Can you, Brad, just kind of tell us what's going on there and what you guys are doing and what's happening?
Yeah, well, the immediate today, we were on our way to one attack that happened near one of our field offices. And early this morning, and then while we were on our way there, we learned that one of our widow communities was attacked. So we diverted from our original location. And when we showed up to our widow community, there were 11 adults, 2 infants, and 1 4-year-old that were slaughtered when we got there. But we buried them today. At a mass grave. But, it's like I can't keep up with the attacks here. Every time I turn around, either one of our communities is getting attacked or a neighboring community or somebody near us has been attacked. I mean, it's just all over the place. But our ministry primarily focuses on helping persecuted Christians, number one. So we help in different ways. We have a refugee facility, and then we also have ministry to widows and orphans. Because wherever there's widows, there's orphans too. So we focus on helping persecuted Christians. We'll do extraction missions. So here in northern Nigeria, if you're a Muslim and you convert to Christianity, under Sharia law, that's a crime punishable by death. So your family can legally kill you if you come from a Muslim family or you're a Muslim and you become a Christian. So we go in and take people we do extraction missions where we take people out of those situations and bring them to our refugee facility. We have one young girl in our refugee facility who she was pregnant and one of our pastors led her to the Lord. Her husband found out about it, locked her in a room in their house, like a jail cell, until she had the babies. And immediately when she gave birth, they took the baby. She's never held her baby, seen her baby, touched her baby. They were going to kill her after the baby was born. She escaped, and we intervened and brought her to our refugee facility. So that's like one of 1,000 stories. That's just the recent story I could tell you. Another part of our ministry is we also bring the gospel to Muslim communities. So we go into Muslim communities, and we basically just look for ways to show them the love of Christ. And whether that's schools, we operate a pretty extensive Fulani Muslim school system. Most Fulani children can't read or write their own language, Hausa, and they can't read and write English, which is the national language here because it's a former British colony. So it puts them at a huge disadvantage. So a lot of times they get drawn into radicalism because of the socioeconomic issues and no opportunities. So we go in and try to provide them opportunities. We've seen we do medical outreaches. We drill wells in Muslim communities. Really anything we can do. The fruit of the Spirit is called fruit because fruit is the reproductive organ of a plant. So we go into communities and bear the fruit of the Spirit, plant seeds of faith in people, and look for opportunities that the Holy Spirit opens to preach the gospel. We've seen over 7,000 Muslims come to Christ in over 10 years that we've been doing this. So we operate a Bible Institute that trains former Muslims to become pastors and evangelists. We operate underground churches here, but so we have this kind of dual focus of our ministry. One is helping persecuted Christians, and then the other is a pretty extensive gospel outreach to these communities. And a lot of times it's the ones doing the persecuting. We've led even Boko Haram soldiers to Christ, and now they're part of our underground churches. So
what is it that or can the United States, does petitioning the government, is there anything practical that people can do from a higher level? Or is it like, listen, they know what's happening, they know what's going on, there's just no stopping it until what's the answer?
They know everything. We have a coalition of Congress members that I work with a lot in D.C. I spend about half the year in northern Nigeria, and then I go back and raise awareness. And part of that raising awareness is I work with our coalition of congressional members. We also have some advisors in the White House that we let them know what's going on. They know what's going on. They know. There were airstrikes on Christmas Day in Sokoto in northwest Nigeria. And then they U.S. sent 200 troops here and then some counterterrorism drones. It's gone back to the way, it's actually gotten worse since the airstrikes because it riled up all the radical Islamists here. The airstrikes did. So for a while, it looked like the United States was going to intervene. And we were very happy about that because 10 years, Eric, this thing has been ignored. completely by the media, by the government. I mean, under the Biden administration, and I'm not political. I try not to be political, but I have one issue. I tell people I have one issue. My issue is Nigeria. That's my calling. But under the Biden administration, he took Nigeria off the country of particular concern list. That year, there were 8,000 Christians that were killed here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So there's been, I don't even know how to explain it. I wish I knew the answer. Why is it being ignored? I don't know, but it's hard to get the media to pay attention to this. It's hard to get government to pay attention to this. I've gone back and forth. Is it economy? Is it an African thing? Is it a black thing? I mean, my mind's all over the place because I can't figure out why. There were 8,200 Christians that were killed probably within a 300-mile radius of where I am right now. That's 72% of all the Christians killed in the world last year were killed here.
And nobody's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about it. What? And this isn't made up. I'm here. I'm seeing it. I buried 14 people today in a mass grave. I've racked my brain. I've gotten frustrated. I've gotten mad. I'm beyond all of that because it's insane. We try to raise awareness. I do a lot of media interviews in the US. So there are some outlets that are picking it up. I write for the Daily Wire and I write for the Washington Post, Washington Times, the New York Post, Wall Street Journal. I do a lot of pretty big op-ed pieces and media interviews. FRC, I'm on with FRC. In fact, they're publishing an article of mine on Monday about President Trump has kind of gone back to ignoring this issue. It's the next shiny object. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just saying, it looked like he was focusing on it for a while and then all of a sudden it left a vacuum. And that just makes this problem worse. It's like if you're going to do something, do it. Do it all the way. So
is there a strategy of taking the head off the snake of the extreme Muslim world? Is there a difference between the extreme Muslim world and the Muslim world? Is it easy to take somebody from Muslim to extreme Muslim? Can you address that real quick?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There are, let me focus real quick on the Fulani Muslims because they're the cause of a lot of the violence right now. They're a tribal group. They're an ethnic group of people. The Fulani are not a terrorist group. I keep trying to say that because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's over 17 million Fulani in northern Nigeria alone, and there's a small percentage that are causing a significant amount of the damage. In fact, the attack that happened to our widows this morning was a Fulani attack. But I would say most of them, the vast majority of them, are not radicalized and they're peaceful. So we'll even go into those communities and minister to them. But when you talk about Boko Haram or ISWA, which is the Islamic State of West Africa, that's an entirely different thing because those are ideological radical groups. So those aren't ethnic groups of people. Those are radical groups of people. We wrote a stabilization strategy for northern Nigeria last year. And one of the things that we called for was kinetic action among the terrorist organizations in northern Nigeria. So we know we have all the intelligence of where they are. I know where a lot of these camps are located. We have people who've been kidnapped by them and are still being held, and we know where they are. So if I know where they are, certainly the CIA or the State Department knows where they are. So go in and do some real damage across northern Nigeria. And I'm not a pacifist by any means. I think these terrorists need to be dealt with on the level that they're dealing and take kinetic action and strategically strike them in key areas. But then that leaves the problem of the Fulani Muslims. Now, they're not technologically advanced. They're tribal people who live out in the bush. So they don't use Facebook, they don't use technology, these types of things. So I liken them, this is really probably a bad analogy, but they're very much like Native Americans in the US. So they're very tribal, very segregated people, very factionalized people. So you're not going to find an agreement among any of them. They have different tribes even among themselves, and they fight against each other. Well, in the consequences of that is they also are fighting against Christians. What they're trying to do, and they're being radicalized and motivated a lot of times by groups like Boko Haram and ISWA. So Boko Haram and ISWA will recruit the Fulani Muslims to go do a lot of this stuff that they're doing. They're being empowered by the government here because the government, as much as they like to make it seem like it's an inclusive government, it's a Muslim government. The Constitution here mentions Sharia law and Islam 147 times. Mentions Christianity 0.
Wow.
So they like to claim that it's this inclusive government for Christians and Muslims. It's not. And and the government has an interest in keeping the North destabilized because they're using the North to funnel in a lot of money from other countries. Like, terrorist organizations like Boko Haram and ISWA will be funded by, previously funded by Iran. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest since our conflict in Iran started. But Libya and other pro-terrorist governments will funnel money here. You also have billionaires who are pro-terrorist from the Middle East that funnel millions of dollars into northern Nigeria. So they use it as a conduit. So to keep it destabilized is in their interest. And that's really what is at the core of it. I was in D.C. last December, and I was talking to one of our coalition members, Congress member, and he said, we had a visit from the Nigerians. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, yeah, they're trying to lobby us. And I said, what are you talking about? Come to find out, he said that the Nigerian government had hired DCI, which is a Washington-based lobby firm, to go around and lobby on behalf of the Nigerian government to cover up this genocide. Like, no, it's not going on. It's not going on. So I went to the DOJ and I pulled the disclosure documents. Every lobby firm has to disclose what they're doing. So I pulled the disclosure documents, and they hired DCI. The Nigerian government hired DCI to the tune of $9 million, lobby Congress to ignore this thing. So there's a concerted effort, absolutely, by the Nigerian government. And sometimes I think, are they paying the American media to stay quiet?
To be quiet, no kidding.
Yeah,
No
there's
kidding.
got to be something. There's got to be something.
Well, I keep seeing it on
So-
X, and that's where I'm grateful I'm seeing it on X, but that's what people on X are saying is nobody's covering this. This makes no sense at all. This should
It
be
makes no sense.
international news right now.
It should be bigger than Iran.
Yeah.
It should be bigger than any conflict we've had in the last 10 years, particularly now, because it's at a fever pitch. I've never seen it this bad. I've been here for over 10 years. I've never seen it this bad.
Well, I'm just getting accustomed to your website here, acrossnigeria.org. Hey, guys, please go check it out. You can sign up for their emails. You can get involved. You can see the projects they're doing. Right at the top is a give now to support what they're doing. Tanya and I will be doing that. Tanya, I'm giving away some money. You can pray for them. Guys, this is the real deal. This is the real deal. So Christians, let's help support the persecuted Christians around the world. I travel to college campuses. I speak to people on different things and a lot of different stuff and do a lot of traveling. But I'm like, I'm sitting here at home in my house today. I'm not even on the road. You had to miss your son's. I just saw that on your Facebook. Miss your son's graduation from boot camp. And wow, thank you.
I got to be there. I got to be there virtually.
Thank God for technology.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's just not the same as being home sweet homes. Brad, thanks for your time today, and Godspeed, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.